Hi, this is Moment with Okamaka Richard. So don't be surprised if you see me shooting this in this environment. So this is a Sunday, and that has to, explain why I'm dressed like this. So I am a broadcaster, and I also work on Sundays because I am what you call the pastor on radio. So I'm currently filming in my office. So I recall the last time in the previous video, I told you I was going to do the part two of that video. God asked me to stay back in Calabar, Cross River State, Nigeria after my NYSC. So in this video, I get to share how this whole thing played out and how I had to trust God to make through his word. So keep watching. This is Moments with Okamaka Richard. Okay, hi, welcome. This is Moment with Okamaka Richard, and I get to share my experiences as a young lady walking with the Lord, but my past and my present, my challenges and the struggles, and even the victories that I have enjoyed. Okay, so God asked me to stay back in Calabar. This is a long story, but I'm going to try as much as possible to cut it short, make it short. So in 2019, towards the end of my service year, now NYSC, it's called the National Youth Service, is something that my country, you have to undergo. It's a 1 year mandatory service. So in 2019, I was about rounding up my NYSC. Recall I told you that I had to live 1 year of my life in Calabar, trusting God without anybody helping out in any way, not even calling my father. Like, my mom is late, so I don't get to disturb my father. So, towards the end of my NYSC, my spirit started getting bothered about. I was asking God, Lord, what is the next step for me to take? Where should I go? Because I wanted to go to Lagos State, Nigeria, which is a thriving city, and because I felt that my talent is going to, be accepted and be, the visibility is going to come when I go to that city. So I was troubled. I was troubled. Now I passed out. I did my POP, that's passing out parade, in July of 2019, and that was when the whole thing started. I entered what some people say NYSC, post NYSC depression. I was asking myself, Lord, oh my God, what am I going to do? What's the next step? I don't want to go back home. Like I shared in my previous video, when I left for school in 2014, I told myself I'm never going to go back to my father's house to go and depend on my daddy. So I was confused. Where was I going to go? I started making inquiries, asking friends who lived in Lagos, asking people that I know in Lagos, should I come in Lagos and stay with you so that I can find my feet and I'm going to get an accommodation later on. So my Pastor Mecca and his wife, my pastor encouraged me to seek the Lord on my next move. And one thing about me is that I don't like going somewhere that God did not approve of. Before I make any move, before I have or make any change of location, I would trust God to approve of my next location. So then I wasn't getting any response in my spirit as God saying, okay, Kamaka, it's time for you to make that move. And my pastor didn't know how to tell me to stay back in Calabar. He only told me to seek the face of God in this matter, and God is surely going to direct me. So July came, August came, my rent expired. The rent I paid to stay 1 year in Calabar expired. And don't forget, I told you that my sister came to stay with me in January of 2019, and I was earning 19,500, and sometimes I would have to sow my money because I was believing God. And I said something that I had put God on trial to know how far he will provide for me. So the last alawi I received was about 21,000 naira. What I did, I paid my tithe and I sowed a seed of 5,000 naira, and I was left with about, let's say, 10,000 naira. And that 10,000 naira, I bought a few things in the house just to, help us towards that period. Okay, so July, I said, Lord, what am I doing? August, God was not saying anything. October, God was beginning to say something, and my spirit man was not understanding what God was saying, because I looked at Calabar. Calabar was a city that people regarded to be laid back. There was nothing in Calabar. So I told myself, Lord, I'm not going to stay in the city. There's nothing for me. So September, I don't know what happened. God brought things my way that will make me stay back. These things that God brought my way, they were not paying. Like, remember, I served in a radio station in Radio Nigeria Canaan City, Calabar. And when I finished my NYC, I was not even paid anything while I was serving. No, I wasn't paid anything. I was not given an accommodation. I was not paid any money while I was serving. So after the passing out parade, I had a boss then who said, okay, stay back. I'm going to be giving you some stipend. She was helping out, but the stipends were not even enough. They were not enough to take care of myself and take care of my sister. So fast forward to October of 2019. September 30th, September 29th, 30th, I had reached out to, I told my sister, we're finally going home. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm not going to stay in Calabar. We're finally going home. So since I'm the one calling the shot, she had to go with what I was saying. And my pastor was like, oh, I'm going to miss you. I don't want you to go and all of that. The wife was like, I don't want you to go. So 30th, I asked somebody to come and take, I put my mattress on sale. I put my cam gas on sale. And the person was going to come on the 1st of October to come carry it because my plan was to leave on the 2nd of October. I'd already packed my bags and packed a few of the things that I had in the room. And don't forget, my rent had expired. So I went to church on October 1st of 2019 for the Independence Day service of my country. And then I went to meet one of the pastors and he told me, I went to tell him, Pastor, I want to leave Calabar to go to another place. And he said, God isn't done with you yet in Calabar. Immediately he said that, I shocked. I shook like, I was like, Pastor, you don't understand. My rent had expired. I don't have any money. Nobody's helping me out. My sister is staying with me. I can't stay in Calabar. I started reading out all the problems that I had. He said, God isn't done with you yet. You have to stay back in Calabar. Trust God to provide the rent for you. Trust God to take care of you. I was so devastated with that because that wasn't what I was expecting. But all through the service, I was crying. And then I went to tell my pastor, P, I'm no longer traveling. He was shocked. What made you change your mind? I said, no, God said I shouldn't travel. And the word that came to my heart that day was Proverbs 3 verse 5. I went back to the Lord. I remember what I was wearing. I was putting on a white polo and a brown trouser with my scarf. And I went back to the Lord at home. I cried my heart out. I said, Lord, I don't know what I'm going to do in Calabar. I don't have money. I don't have, my rent has expired. I don't know what to do. But if you say stay back in Calabar, I'm going to stay back in Calabar on your word. Proverbs 3 verse 5. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. So this is what I did because I was trying to see where God was going to take me from where I was. And you know, even the unfortunate thing was that a few days after I decided to stay back in Calabar, I developed a serious toothache that had me pulling up my tooth because it was so bad. My face was swollen. I was saying, Lord, did you ask me to stay in Calabar to come and stress me like this? So from that October of 2019, what I did, I brought a paper and a pen. And then I now went to tell my landlord, please, sir, give me some time. There's something I'm working on. I didn't know what I was working on. There's something I'm working on. I'm going to pay you rent before the end of December. I didn't even know where the money was going to come. I didn't even know how I was going to get a job. But that was what I told him. So he agreed. Thank God he agreed. So, and what I did was I wrote a paper and a pen. I drew lines. Then I started writing every money that came into my hand from October to 2019 to December of 2019. I wrote it down to see how far God went in providing for me. And this is what God did. God brought into my life a particular woman that I'll always be grateful for. God brought Dr. Berry to my life. She was a helper that God sent in human form. And God used my pastor and the wife. And then at some point, I saw God helping me, providing for me. Do you know one thing? When 2019 December came, I went back to calculate how much has passed my hands from that 2019 of October to 2019 of December. More than 100,000 naira had come into my hand. I don't know how it came, but it came into my hands. And what I banked on was trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. And in that same year, in 2019, November, someone just told me, oh, there's an opening in this radio station. And that's where I'm currently working. There's an opening in Sparkling FM. So I went there. And when I got there, I met with the general manager. And I realized that there was no opening. He said, oh, you just finished your NYSC. What can you do? And go back and draft this for me and come back. And then I was in the process of drafting that for the general manager at the time. 2 weeks later, I got a call. Oh, Okamaka Vanessa, we need you to come back. Someone has penned down his resignation letter. He's moving to another state. We need you to come and take up that person's position. I was shocked. Do you know why I was shocked was because there were people who were there before me. There were people who were interning. They were not asked to come take up the role. I was asked to come take up that role, and I was shocked to my bones. And then in December, I started working fully in this radio station, and the first salary I was paid in this radio station, I gave it to God. I gave that salary to God without knowing what me and my sister were going to be feeding on. That was in December of 2019. I gave the money to God. But I'm going to tell you something. Ever since God asked me to stay back in Calabar in October 2019, I have been in Calabar from 2019 to 2023. And I will tell you that God has never failed to fulfill his word. God has been faithful. God has been faithful. I have seen the Lord giving me grace in this same land that I thought there was nothing for me. I have seen the Lord open doors for me. I have seen the Lord bring relationships into my life. I have seen the Lord take me to places that I never imagined that I was going to be, all because of obedience. Stay back in Calabar. I didn't know what I was going to do, but I chose to obey God. And my obedience to God is the reason I am here today. And I'm sharing this story and this testimony with you. And I want to believe that's going to encourage someone who is on a journey with God. Let your trust be in the Lord. Trust God alone and nobody else. It might be difficult because there were periods when I would nag God, I would complain, I would cry. But all the while, God was telling me, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. So thank you so much for watching this video. I pray that it ministers to you in Jesus' name. Amen. So don't forget, this is Moments with Okamaka Richard. If you're yet to subscribe, please do also subscribe, like, and also share this video with someone you love. Bye for now. See you on the next video.